A Tesla has become the ultimate status symbol for the elite, environmentally conscious driver. But the car maker's attempts to drive into and tap India's markets has been a bumpy one. Tesla's India entry, however, may have got a big boost with a meeting today when the founder of the company, Elon Musk, met with Prime Minister Modi during his 3-day US visit. Soon after the meeting, Elon Musk said that Tesla would be entering India as soon as was humanly possible. An official Indian statement confirmed that investments in India in electric vehicles and commercial space exploration were discussed. Listen in to what Elon Musk said.
How was your meeting with the Indian Prime Minister?
I'm planning to visit India next year.
No, are you planning to invest in India?
I'm confident that Tesla will be in India and will do so as soon as humanly possible. I'd like to thank the Prime Minister for his support, and hopefully we'll be able to announce something in the not-too-distant future.
Are you looking to invest in India, Elon?
Yes.
How soon can we have Tesla in India?
Well, we don't want to jump the gun. We don't want to jump the gun on an announcement, but I think it's quite likely that there will be a significant investment and relationship with India in the future.
That's big news. What made you change your mind?
I've never changed my mind.
How was your meeting with the Prime Minister?
I have to go, guys. Thank you. It was an excellent, very good conversation.
How soon will we see you in India?
Next year, count on it.
Musk there clearly fending off all of the reporters' questions. So while he is making all the right sounds regarding his investments in India and bringing the Tesla here, the fact is it's been a bumpy ride. Tesla's first attempt was in 2019, and the company even incorporated an Indian arm based out of Bengaluru. There was talk of bringing a few models to India, but these ran into a speed breaker. That's because the Indian government wants Tesla to make in India, not just sell here. India wants a manufacturing setup by Tesla that will provide jobs and add to FDI, that's foreign direct investment. Tesla has been saying they want to first sell in India to see if there is enough demand to justify huge investments. The hiccup is there are high import duties on cars, even electric vehicles in India, which are some of the highest in the world. To drive an imported EV, even if it's a cleaner vehicle, taxes go up to over 100% if the value of the car is more than $40,000. That's the price of a base model of a Tesla. The cheapest one is more than $40,000. That means they get taxed at 100% and more. In the midst of this back and forth, Tesla abandoned its Indian dream for a while, but came back to the discussion table last month as per reports. They have now agreed to look at manufacturing in India, but the question is how much will they invest, where and when? Keep in mind that Tesla has 6 factories right now. 2 of them are outside the US in Berlin and Shanghai. In fact, they have a gigafactory in Shanghai. That's the largest one outside the United States. Will they come into India with that kind of investment? Interestingly, the Chinese government just this evening has announced major swaps for electric vehicles, making it easier and cheaper to produce and sell EVs in China. At $72 billion, this is the largest tax break in the world. So the race is truly to become the EV center for the world. But let's look at this a different way. Is Tesla the answer to India's EV plan? Tesla is famous for bringing efficiency and cutting-edge technology to the electric vehicle. There is no compromise on performance, and its autopilot, self-drive features are truly futuristic. That's why it's so expensive. Now, India aims to have a large number of vehicles turn electric by 2030. So by the year 2030, we want 30% of private cars to be EVs, 40% of buses, 70% of commercial vehicles, and 80% of 2- and 3-wheelers as well. Does the uber-costly Tesla fit into this plan? Or is it more of a symbol of India's growing market? To speak on all this and more, I'm joined today by Kushan Mitra, automotive journalist, Vinkesh Gulati, Chairman, Research and Academy at FADA will be with me on the show. Lloyd Mathias, business strategist and investor, joining us today, as is Madhavan Narayanan, senior journalist and economist. Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for speaking with us. Kushan, let me begin with your take on India's Tesla drive and the meeting today. Of course, Elon saying that it's a large market, we want to be there, we want to invest. Does that sound like a definitive sort of push towards Tesla's entry?
Yes, it does. Tesla will definitely be coming to India. I have multiple sources who are working with Tesla, both in the government and outside. Elon Musk doesn't do any half measures. If you know that about the man, I mean, if you just saw the recent launch of the Starship rocket, he's willing to go through failure. He is not a man who does any half measures. If he launches in India, if he does come to India, I mean, there's still a if, it will be with a proper full-fledged factory and a full-fledged line. It will not be a small 10,000 or 20,000 unit assembly line. I personally think Elon cannot ignore the Indian market. We will this year exceed, last year we were at 3.86 million passenger vehicles sold in India. This year we will easily cross, if the first 2 months of the financial year are any indication, 4.1 to 4.2 million vehicles. I mean, that's because we have capacity constraints. I'm sure the market could easily hit 4.5 million vehicles. In India, it is the world's third largest automotive market after China and the United States. And right now, despite the government's ambitions, we have only sold, as I wrote today in my column in the print, or last year, we only sold about 54,200 electric cars, which is only 1.4% of the overall market. If the government's electric dreams are to be met, it's going to be met with the passenger car. Today, you rightly pointed out, the Tesla Model 3 is at about $40,000 US in the US, entry-level Model 3. The same car is about 299,900 Chinese yuan, which works out to about, just above 28 lakhs if we do the math. And that would mean, 229,900 Chinese yuan. That's about 28 lakhs. It's still expensive, but the Indian market's also growing in such a way. If you look at the Indian automotive market right now, the biggest selling, the most profitable segment of the Indian car market is the 4.5 meter long SUV, which is cars like the Hyundai Creta, the Kia Seltos, and 2 new cars coming in this month, which is next month, actually, which is going to be the Honda Elevate and the Citroen C3 Aircross. So this is the market that's growing. So even if a Tesla comes in at 35 to 40 lakhs, I don't think it'll be that expensive. But I do believe if Tesla does come to India, it's going to be with a slightly smaller, more affordable vehicle, which could be well within 30 lakhs. This is where the likes of Hyundai, Kia, as well as Suzuki, Toyota will be bringing in their vehicles. That's been clearly indicated by the other companies. Right. A sub 30 lakh, a sub 25 lakh electric car will do very, very well in India. Cars have become more expensive.
And people are spending. I mean, luxury car sales are doing very well in India. We're right now in a space where luxury car sales are growing at a larger rate than two-wheelers. Let me bring in Vinkesh Gulati, who's also joining us today. Vinkesh, great to have you on the show. And to just give some perspective of Tesla's bumpy ride in India so far. It was all about, cut the import duties, don't charge 100% import duties. They seem to have come around to the idea that they first have to invest here and then they can tap this market. But I want to understand, is there a need or a space for a vehicle like Tesla in India on India's roads? I mean, I wonder where we'll use autopilot and self-drive and braking and lane adjustment and self-parking the way roads are in Indian cities.
So, hi, thanks for inviting me over. See, practically even Indian customers are improving their requirement of features. If you see, like XUV700 has already come with lane direction and ADAS features. There are a lot of other products coming in. And any competition which comes to the market, it benefits the customer. No doubt, like Kushan said, it's right that we shouldn't expect that Tesla will come into 8 to 15 lakh market segment, which is the biggest segment currently in India. But we should also accept that this segment has improved from 5 to 8 lakh within last 3 years. So no doubt premium market is growing well, but overall volumes are less. What I feel with Tesla coming in India, retail wouldn't benefit so much as Make in India concept, because the kind Tesla is thinking of having a big base in India for manufacturing, using for exports also, it will overall help the Indian auto retail in getting the competition also catch up with the product quality of Tesla. And the way two-wheeler and three-wheeler, we have seen a very good push on electric vehicle. But if you find out on cars, we have around 2% of the regular sale which is converted to EV yet. With Tesla coming in, we'll see other legacy players also working day and night to come up to competitive product as good as Tesla regarding the features and a better price, because they're already in India for so long. So it will help the retail have a better, or you can say the faster adoption of electric vehicle. But I feel it will also benefit that Make in India will improve in a big way.
Now, what exactly will Tesla do in India? Madhavan, let me come to you with the question that I've posed at the end of my, sort of opening commentary. It's no surprise that Tesla wants access to the Indian market. Does India need a product like Tesla in its EV plan?
Oh, well, I must tell you, Tamanna, I do get your question, although I missed, thanks to audio problems, some of your earlier produce. But it's quite clear to me that the way to look at Tesla is not as a consumer product maker, as a car maker, but as an ecosystem player in the EV space. And if you've been looking at the fact that, Tesla has its proprietary chargers and superchargers, as they're called. And the best way to look at it is as an analogy of Apple. Apple decided to stay close in America, and then suddenly the IBM PC happened with Microsoft, and personal computers became a big thing. What we're going to witness is the same story in cars. It's already happened in electric scooters, and cars will go the same way. And like you had the Intel microchips inside the PCs, you will have something like a Tesla alongside or Tesla inside kind of a phenomenon where the charging ecosystem will be sought to be controlled or led by Tesla. It's already working with Kia, and it is supposed to be sort of playing ball with BMW. It's looking beyond America and looking beyond the proprietary framework to have an ecosystem control. And that is where I see Elon Musk and Tesla going as India catches up. There are price point issues. Price points will come down. There are infrastructure issues. But let me also say very subtly, after Elon Musk's meeting with Modi today, that Elon Musk is likely to look for political stability, and therefore he's gently hinted that he's not going to visit India until later part of the next year, which basically means he says wait for elections. So we need policy continuity, incentives, as well as infrastructure, and probably partners. I look at Tata's, for instance, as a great partner because they have, EV is not just about making cars. It's about introducing a whole new ecosystem into the country, which includes everything from, maintenance to chargers to some of the design elements that will go into the cheaper cars and partnership elements. And India can be even potentially a partner for global sales for Tesla. But looking at it as a partnership venture, I would say there is a lot of potential partners waiting in India for Tesla. Just as we have seen in mobile phones, Apple is, after God knows how long, iPhone was launched in 2006 and it's 2023 that Apple is actually making it in India. So you just have Apple, the easiest way to look at is that Tesla is the Apple of the new age electric vehicle. And a lot of its behavior is likely to mimic Apple in terms of puritanism, in terms of looking at details completely, in terms of taking a big bet after thoroughly studying the market, in terms of looking at partners, in terms of understanding the volumes and the price and where they will play the best. And just is an elaborate, think of it like a Western classical music orchestra in which every player, every note, and every, inflection will match the conductor's baton. We in India have this habit of simplistically saying, "Oh, aa raha hai, oh, aa raha hai." This is not how it works in the advanced West. There's a lot
No.
of detail.
Okay,
And I
it's not
look for,
Madhavan. It's not only वो आ रहा है, वो रह पाएगा कि नहीं? Okay, I have to expand this.
I hope you got my
Vinkesh is
point. I
already
hope you
laughing.
got my point. I would
Yes,
see
but वो रह पाएगा कि नहीं? Because let me get Lloyd into this. A lot of global OEMs, car manufacturers have looked at India and its large market and all of that potential and found it mouth-watering. Then they come here and then it's not so hunky-dory. Ford had to exit. There are several others who packed their bags and left. MG is the latest, trying to figure out where to find a lifeline in India. So it's more than just a meeting and saying the right words before Tesla successfully makes its mark here, isn't it? We're also quite protectionist when it comes to domestic car makers. We've been giving them a soft landing policy-wise.
Thanks for having me on the debate, Tamanna. I think I agree. I think primarily, what Tesla's coming or likely coming can do is to boost the entire EV four-wheeler market in the country, which, as Kushan pointed out, is still very limiting. Having said which, the one difference that I see this time around is that post the pandemic, I think the dependence of China, Madhavan alluded to the fact that there's a classic Western approach of, having a big manufacturing base in Asia. I think post the pandemic, a lot of companies, their reliance on China to an extent is being rethought through. In that context, I would see the Tesla coming this time around being as much about manufacturing as much as obviously opening up the market for India. The India numbers will continue to remain small, so Tesla's coming in will obviously expand the EV market. But I would say they would use this possibly as a great manufacturing. It's also something that the Prime Minister would need in terms of his Make in India approach. So I think that's the core of the entire point. Things like price points and the fact that Tesla would have to tweak its models to suit Indian conditions would be but natural. But I think the primary issue was that I would look at this as more as a manufacturing win and to some extent boosting the entire EV ecosystem in the country.
Kushan, I must ask, how will a self-drive car work over here with sticks to lanes? I don't think anyone who actually drives in any Indian city can manage that. You don't know what's going to happen on the road.
No,
I want to actually make quite a few corrections to what I've heard today.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I actually drive cars for a living. I actually cover this industry for a living. Firstly,
that's why you're on the panel, Kushan.
But I want to say Vinkesh was correct about ADAS coming on several cars. Right now, you get advanced driver assistance systems such as lane keeping assist, which will work on all our expressways. I've tried them out multiple times. They work quite fine. I know collision warning systems can be very irritating, but they are there on multiple vehicles today. They are there on vehicles that start at 15 lakhs, like the Honda City, the Honda Elevate, the Hyundai Verna, and the upcoming Kia Seltos as well. Also want to get on the charger front, the government's made very clear that India will have a certain charging system where we will have a particular charger that will fit everywhere. That's the same as Europe. America, Tesla uses its superchargers. They're very specific about that. So automated driving may not work as well as it does in the US. I've actually driven a Tesla Model 3 in the US multiple times. It's very advanced, but even in the US, it won't work in New York. It works quite nicely in California because in New York, traffic is chaotic. Automated driving works. Secondly, car prices are going up. And to give that Apple analogy that Madhavan mentioned, and I want to correct that again, Apple launched the Apple iPhone SE to enter the market to get in a more affordable model for everybody. The iPhone SE helped Apple break into markets like India, and I think Tesla will do the same. They will bring in a more affordable model. It will not be a very affordable model like, you won't have a Maruti Swift or a Hyundai i10 sort of priced model, but you'll have something at 15 lakhs. That won't be difficult at all for Tesla to prove because you're having battery chemistries are changing rapidly. Secondly, to correct somebody else, Elon Musk is probably going to come early next year. The plant will probably be set up. He doesn't do small things. He's going to be coming early next year. We do have a very clear policy pathway towards electric vehicles. This is something I've been tracking on a very daily basis. We have a very clear pathway. I don't agree with the pathway. Electric vehicles, we should have an emissions-based control rather than electric pathway, but Tesla has gone down that route. We have to understand that with electric vehicles, we will be beholden to China. Whether it's Tesla, whether it's MG, as you mentioned, MG is having trouble in India because they're a Chinese company, not because of any other reason. China controls the entire battery ecosystem. 77% of the global battery supply is controlled by China. China has 95% of the global cathode supply for lithium-ion batteries. If we go down the electric route, we have to set up battery manufacturing over here, and it's going to be a huge challenge. The Tata is getting into battery manufacturing with a company called Agratas. Right. And there's also going to be a lot more happening with Amara Raja. We have to get into batteries. It won't be just Tesla. Tesla will probably help us grow the ecosystem.
Okay, Madhavan wants to respond to a couple of corrigendums you issued. Yes, Madhavan.
Yeah. Very quickly, Kushan is not disagreeing with me at all. I only mentioned the time it took for Apple to sell its iPhone specific to India, and more important, manufacture in India. So Apple is not even now manufacturing, truly speaking, iPhones in India in the kind of volume.
They actually are. You can buy iPhones in the United States that are made in India. The iPhone 12 and 13 are made in India. You see it. They might be assembled from components. Manufacturing is not, even a car is not completely manufactured in India.
I understand. But
I mean, let's not get in down a
let him make his point, Kushan. Let him make his point.
Let me complete.
This is the Madhavan Narayanan line of non-manufacturing.
But let him speak, please. Let him speak and then you can respond.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm saying India has been importing iPhones for more than a decade before Apple got anywhere near manufacturing. Even now, it is not significant according to me. That's my opinion. And based on the statistics that I have seen in terms of volumes. And more important, I'm using it as an analogy for Tesla, saying that nothing's going to happen overnight. I am enlightened by Kushan saying that Tesla will start manufacturing next year. I will believe it when I see it. I'll be happy to buy Kushan one of his favorite drinks at that time. I don't see it happening the way things and the way the system moves.
The system is moving a lot faster, Madhavan. I also do not agree with your statistics on iPhones. I do not agree with the statistics on iPhones. I probably draw it up right now. I can draw up that there's a lot more manufacturing happening in India than you claim. This is the line that assembly is not the same. I agree, assembly is not the same. But we are going to manufacture. Even you can argue that even the cars that Tata Electric is making today is not really making because the batteries are all still coming from China. But I do believe, again, Tesla doesn't do any half measures. They will start making their cars when they want to make their cars. Tesla can put up a plant in 12 months. They have set up the Gigafactory in Texas in 12 months.
Okay, let's see what they do. Let's see what they do. I'm going to have to wrap it here simply because I have to go into breaking news coming in. But this has been a great conversation. I want to get these two back. Kushan and Madhavan should come back, and we must talk more about this. And of course, Vinkesh and Lloyd as well. But I'm going to have to break it here because